Am I being a bridezilla by asking my best friend's partner to not propose at my wedding? I get married in April. We got engaged at Christmas, but in January, my dad was given 5 months max after being taken off chemo for it not working. I will preface this by saying I never wanted the big white wedding. I am not a fan of being the center stage, etc. My best friend, 26 female, of 14 plus years, is the polar opposite of me. My partner and I have been super busy with work, so have allowed my parents to plan the wedding. His parents are out the country on holobobs, but have had input. My dad wanted a bigger celebration, as this will be the last chance he gets to celebrate. I am obviously heartbroken and want to give him exactly what he wants. I chose my bridesmaids and my partner chose his best man/groomsman. My best friend is one of my bridesmaids and my niece is my other. My bestie from day one of being asked has been finding dresses, not a problem. I've said all along I just want them to feel comfortable, so to wear what they want, I am paying. Some of the dresses were questionable, but I honestly didn't have the heart to tell her. Men's suits were all chosen, and everyone was happy. A little side note here, my parents have never been a fan of my bestie. They think she's an attention seeker and a bit of a tart. They accepted my choice because they know I love her to bits. Last week when we went to see my bestie, she had a baby recently, so love going to see Bubba. She was saying, I think her partner, let's call him Paul. Paul is going to propose at your wedding, and getting all excited. She kept saying how she wanted it to be a perfect proposal, and we have the perfect venue. That is true, the venue is stunning. On the way home from seeing her, I was talking to my partner and said that I didn't want him to propose at the wedding, as we were already celebrating a wedding and my beautiful daddy, and didn't want to take away from that. I reached out and tried to explain this to Bestie. Her reply, if you are going to be a bridezilla, I don't want to be part of your rushed wedding. If you can't stand other people getting attention, you're really pathetic and need to get over yourself. Here I will input partner and I have been together 4 years. Her and partner have been together 1 year. Not that this is any sort of competition. But here is where I may be the bridezilla/a-hole. My response, I'm truly sorry you feel like I've been a bridezilla/a-hole. I've tried to be accommodating and as free-willed as possible. You've had your choice of dress, shoes, hair, makeup, accessories, which were all paid for by me, and we have accommodated bringing your baby, which of course we would as we love you. You know, I don't like major attention, but this is my family, my friends, and they're coming to our wedding. If you're so desperate for the attention on you, perhaps it's best you're not there. I'm sorry that this hasn't working out. I'm truly heartbroken. But this day needs to be perfect for my daddy. Her last response, I didn't respond. Your dad's gonna die. He won't even be here to give a sh*T. I don't mind losing her over this, but I'm heartbroken and now thinking I may have been a bridezilla. Please help Potato Kings, Queens, and everyone in between Potato Princess Prince. OP's comments. Most of OOP's comments include screenshots between her and the friend. I have transcribed them below. OP, all one text, hey gorgeous. It was so lush to see you and Mr. Roman. He's gotten so big. Can I just air something that's really played on my mind? I absolutely don't want to upset you in any way, and you know I've given you and Savannah free reign with everything from dress, accessories, and everything. I also haven't asked you to pay for anything, so you've got a free room for the night and everything paid for. Basically, I'm just a bit hurt that you're planning on getting engaged at my wedding. It's a day that is less about me and more about my dad being able to celebrate with people that cherish him. We are already celebrating 2 things, the wedding and my daddy. I was just hoping you'd maybe ask Luke to not propose at the wedding. Friend, if you are going to be a bridezilla, I don't want to be part of your rushed wedding. If you can't stand other people getting attention, you're really pathetic and need to get over yourself. OOP, I'm truly sorry you feel like I've been a bridezilla/a-hole. I've tried to be accommodating and as free-willed as possible. You've had your choice of dress, shoes, hair, makeup, accessories, which we're sick, all paid for by me, and we have accommodated bringing your baby, which of course we would as we love. You know, I don't like major attention, but this is my family, my friends, and they're coming to our wedding. If you're so desperate for the attention on you, perhaps it's best you're not there. I'm sorry that this hasn't working out. I'm truly heartbroken. But this day needs to be perfect for my daddy. Friend, you dad's gonna die. He won't even be here to give a shit if we get engaged or not. Pathetic. Edit, same post, 3 days later. Edit, I thought I'd update as a few common points. I no longer want this girl in my life, let alone the wedding. She's a vile human being. I have always been that one girl she gets at. I've never had much luck making friends, so I think that's why I've always accepted shitty treatment. Partner hates her, and has hated her since they met. I am gonna send a message and block. She's done. I'm not sure how to share SS, but I'll work it out. Update post, same day as edit, 3 days from OG post. Thank you to everyone that gave comments/feedback/support and advice. And as I'm sure you all expected, we have an update. He was going to leave her, not propose. So my partner and I reached out to him, asked him to meet in a neutral place. We chose the park near to his house. He agreed to meet us. Alone. Side note, we live about 2 hours apart since I moved out of my parents, and we moved to a different city. I travel most weekends to see my parents' red heart. I showed him the messages from the screenshots shown in my last post, and he was raging. Paul was so angry at what had been said. Then turned to us and said, I actually wanted to leave her, but was waiting until after the wedding as to not ruin the day for you and your dad. We had a long chat. Paul and my partner have a lot in common, and he's always been lush to the both of us. We drove him home and left. Driving the 2 hours home, I felt relieved. I've never felt so stress-free. I had no one to try and please. And who needs an egg-sucking bridesmaid anyway? Paul rang when we got home. They've split up. She tried to deny the messages, but didn't delete them from her phone, so he knew it was true. He told her he was repulsed and was planning on leaving after she'd been unkind to his mom, also ill. Paul wants an amicable split with baby, so we'll possibly getting lawyers involved. My daddy is over the moon. He's heartbroken that I've lost pretty much my only friend, but he's so glad she's gone. He's surviving day to day, and we are giving him the best we possibly can. We took him suit shopping, and he looks absolutely incredible. My mom hasn't got her dress yet, but we are having a special girly day out soon, dresses, spa day, and just overall love. Major updates. Passwords with vendors. Paul is still coming, either alone or with a friend or someone else. He deserves a break. Paul is going to tell her parents, who are massively religious and massively strict and will not tolerate bullies. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for gossiping with my mom about my brother's fiancé is potentially lying about giving birth? I, 22 female, have an older brother, John, 32 male, who has been with his fiancée, Jane, 30 female, for 4 years. They have a 4-month-old. Jane found out she was pregnant at 5.5 weeks and immediately called my mom to tell her. Mom was confused, but still very excited. Jane said she was going to tell John when he got back from his work trip. A few hours later, she called again, sobbing, saying she has insatiable cravings. Mom made a joke like, isn't it a bit early for cravings? And Jane went off on her. She started yelling about how this was her pregnancy and no one else's. It was an odd reaction. She also apologized for her outburst by blaming it on hormones. When my brother returned from his trip, him and Jane left to stay at her mother's, and we didn't see her until after the baby was born. John said this was because Jane was afraid of losing the pregnancy and wanted to be with her mom, and we needed to respect boundaries. Whenever someone would ask about Jane or the baby, they would shut it down with vague answers like, every pregnancy is different, or she's carrying small, which isn't unusual. They barely shared anything about the pregnancy. No ultrasound pictures, no baby shower, and Jane didn't want anyone around during the delivery. I also discovered that every craving she listed came from one article about pregnancy cravings. She even listed multiple items in the same order as the article. When the baby was born, we were finally allowed to see Jane and John, and baby of course. It was very bittersweet as we all wished we could have been there for Jane to help out, but Jane and John both reassured us that we did help out by staying away during the pregnancy. The weirdest part, though, is how Jane describes the birth. She claims she had an epidural via 4 drip into her hand, edited BC, I didn't elaborate, which is not how those are administered. When I asked clarifying questions, thinking she had gotten confused, which is understandable, she shut down and refused to answer, like how she would during the pregnancy. She said the baby had latching issues because he was born with no umbilical cord stump. This can technically happen, but it's a rare and fatal medical condition that their baby does not have. The final straw was when she told us that the baby basically fell out of her within an hour of being in labor, despite my brother telling us how hard the birth was and even stating that was why they weren't going to try for any more kids. Mum is on the same side as me and has been noting this inconsistencies and inaccuracies, but doesn't know how to bring it up, and their reactions don't help. A few days ago, my brother texted Mum saying her doubt of Jane is disrespectful, and they both want full apologies from the both of us for bullying Jane about her pregnancy/labor. I haven't made any outright accusations about it, nor have I said any of this to Jane. I've only asked questions when she brings the birth/pregnancy up. Am I the jerk for having doubts? Some of OP's comments. Commenter, part of a longer comment, by all means keep in mind that she may not be a reliable narrator, particularly if it comes to medical matters, but other than that, just enjoy your nibbling. This is not a situation where you need to prove her wrong or set her right, and YTA if you continue to gossip. Also, why jump to lying, which implies ill intent? OP, also why jump to lying, which implies ill intent? Because their stories change. One day the labor was a grueling, touch-and-go 24 hours, and the next day it was, he just slipped out, I didn't even feel it. The labor was an hour or 2 max. One day I had an epidural given via 4 drip in my hand, and the next it was so quick and easy, I didn't need any pain meds. One day he was born without an umbilical cord stump, so he doesn't latch easily, and the next he was born 100% healthy. Everything about it changes on a day-to-day basis, while my brother and SIL try to insist there's nothing weird going on, and anyone who merely questions these changes is a gossip bully. I'm trying to be nice here and not imply ill intent, but when they jump down your throat for asking how much the baby weighed, it's hard not to. Commenter, YTA. Sounds like they adopted a baby, but are too scared to tell you, but not afraid to tell her side of the family, because you might judge them. Welcome the baby, and stop being nosy. It's really none of your business. OP, I mean I was adopted and John is a surrogate baby, so I'm unsure about that part. Commenter, maybe at this point they are fucking with you. OP, downvoted, I hope so. I hope they're really good actors, loudly crying face. Commenter, YTA, I doubt you and your mum are reliable narrators, especially considering you Googled her cravings. I've had 3 children, no baby showers, and carried low with my first. You couldn't tell I was pregnant. OP, especially considering you Googled her cravings? Yeah, SGL told me to. She kept saying her cravings were common, and to look it up as proof. Then I found said article and realized she was listing every craving off the list. Commenter, info, why does it matter? Why not just ask if they adopted or used a surrogate if you want to know so badly? OP, why not just ask if they adopted or used a surrogate if you want to know so badly? I said I would love to adopt one day. I'm adopted also, but that surrogacy is also on the table. They both started crying. When family asked if they were okay, my brother told my uncle to shut up, and they left. So ick. Commenter, I feel like in any situation it's totally reasonable to fact check. Just a question of what you do with the information. OP, but also, they told me their newborn had this birth defect and didn't elaborate. So I Googled it because I had never heard of it. Then I find out it has a 100% death rate. So now I'm assuming this newborn baby is going to die soon because all babies born with body stalk anomaly live for a few days max. When I bring it up with them, they tell me that actually no, he's not going to die, and he doesn't really have body stalk anomaly. So I went from prematurely grieving this newborn's death and panicking that he was going to pass to being told that he's actually fine. So how am I supposed to react to news about the baby now? More on body stalk anomaly. Body stalk anomaly is a very different thing, and it means it's a defect in which the abdominal organs develop outside of a baby's abdominal cavity and remain attached directly to the placenta. Yes, that is what they said the baby had. The baby very clearly does not have BSA. But that's what they said, and continue to say, the baby has. The baby cannot have an infection on an umbilical cord stump that is no longer there because it fell off like it's supposed to. They both said the baby's stump was not infected. I know the baby doesn't have BSA. SGL and brother, however, continue to say baby has it, which is not true at all. That is why I was pushing back on them about it, because it makes no sense. They still maintain the baby had no infection and is in good health, but simultaneously has BSA. This is why I'm so confused by what they're saying. Top comment on post. Commenter, the reality is that nothing much adds up, but there's one reality you can buy into. Your brother and his fiancée have a baby that is theirs. You can remain out of their lives forever or let your obsession go and enjoy your niece/nephew. Your choice, but you would be an AH if you chose option 1. OP is voted YTA. Update post, 24 days later, on OP's page. Well, I was right to have questions. After I made my post, I stopped talking to my mom about the pregnancy, but things still didn't add up. Fast forward to my brother's birthday, and the whole family was over at Mum's. Our aunts, uncles, cousins, and older brother were all guests. During the party, Jane mentioned how the baby had BSA, and our aunt called her out on it. She's a maternity nurse. It caused a huge argument where Jane and John left in a rage. But it turns out that Jane didn't give birth. The baby is actually a product of my brother's affair. He had been cheating on Jane with some woman for about 6 months before she got pregnant. Apparently, Jane and John offer her a lump sum of £25,000 for her to allow them to adopt the baby when it was born and to never interact with the baby or their family ever again. They didn't want this cheating to be found out, so they pretended Jane was pregnant and moved away. Jane's mom was in on the whole thing. The kicker? This all came out because the woman John had the affair with decided she wanted her baby back. Apparently, she hadn't been fully informed about the agreement's legal implications, and she felt pressure to sign it in the first place. She also barely speaks English, and the contract was all English. She's now pursuing legal action against Jane and John to get full custody of the baby. She said she waited this long because she was afraid of her immigrant status getting in the way. All their closed-off answers and refusal to engage was because they were afraid of this coming out. Apparently, Jane was terrified of someone noticing the baby's eyes green. John and Jane both have blue eyes, but Lucy has green eyes. Things have gone to absolute shit. The whole situation is bigger than anything I could have imagined. I won't be updating unless something else crazy happens. If this was a sign to keep trusting my gut, but damn. I'll be logging off in a few hours. Thanks to everyone, smiley face. Some of OP's comments. Commenter, downvoted. You need to get Sil out of that toxic relationship ASAP. Help that girl wake up. OP, they both orchestrated taking advantage of the woman. They're made for each other. Commenter, why didn't they just say they will adopt a baby? OP, well, that's what they did under the guise of tricking the woman. I don't know what the contract said exactly, but from what I know, my brother told her she'd be able to see the baby, but the contract said that by taking the £25,000, she'd never see her baby, or my brother/his extended family ever again. I feel awful for her, and I hope she can recover and get her baby back. Commenter, yikes. I hope that poor woman gets her baby back. In the US at least, there's a visa for people who report a crime and cooperate with prosecuting the perpetrator. It's frequently used for domestic violence. We don't know the details and whether they can be charged with a crime given the contract. Maybe something like criminal coercion? In any case, I hope mama and baby are reunited and thrive together. Sorry you have to deal with the family mess OP. OP, we're in the UK where paid surrogacy is illegal unless it's for reasonable expenses. For example, buying your surrogacy maternity clothes is legal. Paying them a lump sum of £25,000 is not. That's not even getting into the fact that they tricked her and didn't even attempt to provide a translator, a contract in her language, anything.